fun.
Fun is what we're all about. Straight No Chaser Talk Radio.
What fun at a party!
This is Straight No Chaser Talk Radio. We're just getting started. Straight No Chaser Talk Radio.
He's drinking that with no chaser.
This is Straight No Chaser Talk Radio. We're just getting started. Straight No Chaser Talk Radio.
He's drinking that with no chaser.
This is Straight No Chaser Talk Radio. We're just getting started. Straight No Chaser Talk Radio.
He's drinking that with no chaser.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Straight No Chaser, where we never dilute the issues, we only serve the hard stuff. Well, it's your boy B, and I'm here with Dr. T, and Sophisticated Shannon will be joining us here shortly. And today, ladies and gentlemen, is a special show for us. It's a bittersweet day. As you all know, our colleague Thinbad passed away, and of course we're missing him terribly, but in true Thinbad fashion, we just wanted to have a few minutes just to kind of honor his memory and talk about Thinbad in the way that we were used to seeing him on the show, and that's full of life and full of energy and full of love. And so today we are here with Dr. T, and of course, joining us to help us to talk about our friend and our colleague is Dr. Ruth Phillips, who is Thinbad's wife. And Dr. Ruth, thank you so much for being on with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, my absolute pleasure.
Yes, indeed. We are just so honored to have you with us today as we honor Thinbad, and we have some folks who are going to be joining us. One of our guests from previous shows, a gentleman named Ryan Adams, will be joining us here in a few minutes. He's a sportscaster in El Paso, Texas. He's going to be joining us, and also one of our fraternity brothers. And we're just going to all share some fantastic memories about Thinbad today, because that's what it's all about, is just celebrating and laughing and just kind of remembering our friend who brought so much joy to all of us and helped us really take our show into another dimension. So with that, Dr. Ruth, if you're all right, we're going to jump right into this thing. You good?
I'm good.
So look, Dr. Ruth, you know, you were married to Thinbad for many, many years, a couple of decades. Just kind of tell us, you know, how did it all get started between you and Thinbad?
So we actually met on campus at Morgan State University back in 1986. And he literally came to my table where I was eating, canteen, and sat down and then introduced himself. And he didn't call himself Thinbad or Pooh. Some people know him by Pooh. He said, "Hello, my name is Wendell."
Okay.
And when I saw that smile, it was a wrap. It really was. And the funny thing about it, I was engaged to someone else.
Uh-oh.
And I even told him, I said, "Well, you know, I'm engaged." And he said to me, "Well, you're not ready to get married." And I'm looking at this man like he just met me 5 minutes and told me I wasn't ready to be married to somebody else.
Wow.
And, well, I wasn't ready to be married to that person. That person wasn't ready to be married to me. But by the time I circled back, he had, you know, he was dating someone else. I was dating someone else. And we didn't reconnect until 1997. When my father passed away. And I remember having a conversation with my dad. And he was always told me, if a man wants you, he's going to come for you.
Okay.
And I said, okay. And I said, I just wait. And so after my father passed, I remember saying to the Lord, and you might call it quirky or perky. I said, wow, you answered that prayer. So where is my soulmate? I literally asked God that. And then at the repast, I had no idea that Wendell was at the funeral, but at the repast, he was the very first person I ran into with that white turtleneck on, a pair of blue jeans, and a pair of brown shoes. And you don't remember people like that often, but I remembered that moment, and we have been talking ever since. So
Wow.
that's how we met.
Wow. Yeah, because we kind of recall when he shared that story, except we remembered it a little differently when he said that you had a fiance. He said, well, that's not my problem. Is that true?
That wasn't his problem. It really wasn't. It really wasn't. But he did tell me I wasn't ready to get married. I said, "Oh, okay, all
Wow.
right." But he was right. And we had mutual friends along the way. So once in a while, we would ask how the other was doing.
Sure.
And I remember when his father passed away, I sent him a card.
Mhm.
And oddly enough, now I'm gonna tell you right now.
Okay.
I have gotten so many cards from everyone that has loved on him and on his mom. And for him to pull out the card that I gave him several years later, I was floored. Because
Wow.
he said, he gave me this card. He goes, "Do you recognize this card?" I said, "No." He goes, "You gave me this card when my father passed away."
Wow.
And I said, I did? He's like, "Yes." He kept it and showed it to me. So I was pretty impressed. I was pretty impressed by that.
Wow. That is impressive. My
I thought
goodness.
so.
Wow.
And the love for music, for sure. We both had a love for music.
Uh-huh.
And what sold me on
Mhm.
him is that he gave me an out of print CD,
Mhm.
and it was Liz Hogue, "Dream Lover." I don't know
Wow.
if you recognize that song or that artist.
Mhm.
She actually went to Morgan, and
Okay.
it was one of my favorite songs, and it was out of print. And back in the day, we didn't have the internet, so all we had was CDs, and some of the CDs were out of print.
Sure.
And he had a copy of it, and he put it in my green coat. And I knew then, okay, he must really like me because he's giving me an out of print CD I know I can't find anywhere in the States.
Wow. Wow. Now that is impressive. That is impressive. Well, look, what is one of your funniest moments, if you can share, of
Sure.
Thinbad that you can recall?
Gosh, there's so many. And the funny thing about it, people thought he was funny, and I would say, I don't really think you're that funny. And then oftentimes he would think I was funnier because, I don't try to be funny, but the things that's happened to me. But the one thing I think that sticks out to mind is when he took me out to a fancy restaurant. I think we went to Ruth Chris. And to this day, I carry money in my pocket because of it. So he gets paid. This is before we were married. And he wanted to take me out to dinner. He goes, "Order whatever you want." So I ordered, I think I had lobster. He may have had a steak. And the bill comes. And the bill was over $100 because, Ruth Chris gets a little pricey. And he gives him his credit card, and it's declined.
Oh, no.
And it's declined.
Oh, no.
And and he was shocked because he had just put his money in the bank, but I guess the money hadn't cleared the bank yet. And he's looking at me, I'm looking at him, and we just died laughing. And to this day, whenever we go out, that's all. This is 20 some odd years later, we still chuckle about that first date. It wasn't our first date, but it was one of our earlier dates that we always have money just in case that credit card doesn't go through. And I ended up calling my sister and asking for her credit card over the phone, and we paid for dinner. But it was one of my most memorable dinners with him. But that's what happened. He had the money, but it just didn't clear the bank just yet. We had a good time.
Wow. That's funny.
It was a long time ago. It was before we got married.
Wow.
So, Dr. Ruth, I have a question for you. So knowing Thinbad, he was, when I was a guest on the show, we would talk about education a lot. And, he would make me laugh with some of his questions. But tell us about what he did with the university, because I know that he was involved in the university system. So can you share what he did with the university system?
Sure. So it started first at Coppin State College. He worked under the leadership of Stanley Battle, Chancellor President Stanley Battle, and from that opportunity, he left and went to North Carolina A&T State University, where he was assistant to the chancellor. And then from there, he did a lot of work of governmental affairs and making sure that HBCUs were represented and getting funding. From there, he went to be the chief of staff at North Carolina Central University, and also being chief of staff, and then leaving there and becoming the chief of staff from, I can't think of the interim chancellor, but also doing that role there as well as working in governmental affairs. So he's done a lot of that for 3 HBCUs in North Carolina, and it started in Baltimore. And he jokingly said he's been to all the HBCUs in North Carolina except for Winston-Salem State and Elizabeth City.
Oh, wow. It's very impressive.
So he raised a lot of money and represented a lot of HBCUs here in North Carolina.
Wow. Well, Ruth, we got to get started with some Thinbad memories. And, I'm going to circle back around to when you said that you first met him. And so I'm going to play the clip that of Thinbad talking about when he first met you. And we were talking about it on the show.
Oh, see, I didn't know you were talking about me. Okay.
Yeah. It was all good. It was all love. All right, here we go.
Thank you. Yes, much
So
obliged.
who's next?
Fabulous, Pastor Steve.
I'm waiting to hear the Chief and Thinbad saying that they've been married for 92 years.
Oh, I love
Man, I
this
can't remember
story.
nothing.
Go ahead.
It has been like this. I don't even know what had happened.
What had
My life
happened
got
was
stole. But what had happened was, I think I surrendered.
Oh, boy. Let's hear the story, Thinbad.
I don't know. Well, let's see. How did the story go? I think we actually met at school at Morgan.
Is that college or middle school? Which one?
Morgan State University, Baltimore, Maryland.
Yeah.
And then but nothing happened then, and she was I think engaged at the time.
Yeah.
And I said you're too young to get married. You ain't ready to get married.
Oh, he's
And
the best.
she said, yeah, I'm gonna get married. I said, no, you ain't ready to get married. And it gets hazy after that. it gets hazy. Where's the bleep bleep beep beep part? It gets hazy. And then some years went by. She went her way, and I went mine. And then my father passed, and she showed up. She heard about it and showed up at the house to offer condolences. And I said, she says, I said, next time I see you, if I see you, I'm gonna marry you.
Oh.
And
Go ahead.
and then it was another few years that went by, and then her father passed a couple years later. Her father passed, and I showed up at the repast, and that was in 1997, and I'm still here. We're still here.
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful, man.
21 years.
That was unintendedly beautiful, wasn't it? That was just
And that is it only as Thinbad could describe it.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, well, he remembered it like I remembered it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, we used to tease Thinbad because I said, when he would tell that story, you could see him blushing, So he really, really, held that in the fondest place in his heart. So it's just such a neat story to hear. We really loved hearing that story about Thinbad and you.
Yeah. You can't make this stuff up. And, I didn't think, he always told me he was the best looking guy I ever dated. And that's true. I would tell him all the time, I said, you're so cocky. He's like, it's cocky? No, it's true. And then my girls are like, well, mommy, you do have a point. He does have a point.
That's right.
we seen the other ones.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
And so that was always an ongoing joke. Because I always told him, I said, you know what? Because he's a good-looking guy. I said, but that wasn't the reason. I mean, his personality was what I liked, you know, and the laughter. You just happened to be good-looking. That was just the perk. I said, I don't care about looks. That was never my thing.
But it didn't hurt.
It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt at all. It didn't hurt at all.
We also got Ryan Adams on the line with us. I know you can't see him, Dr. Ruth, because you all are traveling. And again, we thank you for calling in to help us with this celebration. But Ryan, go ahead and ask a few questions of the good doctor.
Let's see. Excuse me. Just getting over a cold. I hope I don't sound too bad, but I guess so. You met Thinbad in college, so you didn't know him prior to that. Is that correct?
No, I didn't know him prior. I met him in college.
Okay. Questions. Because I know he spent some time in Baltimore. I guess what was it that sent him to North Carolina? Because I've got roots in North Carolina, as does Michael. I'm just curious about what was it that sent him to North Carolina from Maryland?
So we sent him to North Carolina. He was working at Coppin State University in Baltimore, and Chancellor Bader at the time, who was the president or chancellor at Coppin, had a position as chancellor at North Carolina A&T State University. And so he asked Wendell to go with him and be his chief of staff. So that's how we got to Greensboro, North Carolina. Okay. And then Dr. Battle left shortly thereafter, and we were thinking, oh my goodness, we're here. So he left, but we were there, and so we stayed because we had nowhere else to go really, and I didn't want to come back to Baltimore. And I always wanted to live in North Carolina, but I couldn't figure out how we were going to get there because we literally lived there not even a mile from his mom's house. We could walk to his mother's house. So I didn't think he would leave his mother and go to North Carolina, but he did. But later brought his mom down. But that's how we got to North Carolina.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Interesting.
And Dr. Ruth, can you kind of share with us I know Thinbad was also really engaged in community stuff and world and local events. Did you all often get into those discussions about, the plight of the, African American males and the community and all those types of things?
So I didn't. He kept it. Even though my workspace is around more like health and health equity, he didn't talk to me about that, but he was very much involved. If you can look at all the books that he has a library full of, African American books and so many topics, so many political topics. That was his passion. Didn't always share that with me. I mean, he probably talked to everyone else about it, but kept it pretty quiet at the house.
Sure. Well,
but definitely a passion of his for sure.
Absolutely, and we often had shows. We covered the gamut of things. We had entertainers. We had politicians. We had a variety of folks that would come on the show with us. And one of the things that Thinbad was always very cognizant of was what was happening to the community, particularly when it came to the incarceration of African American males and so forth. And I just want to share a brief clip. This is with Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy, and we were just kind of talking about how some of the causative factors that led to African American males getting into difficulty. Let me play a little bit of that.
Or arresting people and prosecuting them don't necessarily result in less crime, but what will result in less crime is if we address the underlying needs that individuals have in our community. And then if we can address those needs, then they are less likely to commit the crimes. And so that's what we're focusing on. And I believe the community is behind that.
No doubt. I'm always glad to hear folks talking about, something other than criminalizing everything. everybody wants to lock somebody up or throw away and throw away the key. And they're like, no, wait a minute. You gotta address the issue at the core. Because there's always going to be something else or someone else coming in if you don't have processes in place, where people can get a chance to really kind of rehabilitate themselves one way or the other, or get the kind of help that they need. Because most folk, are acting out, because of a loss of something, and some kind of benefit, whether it be, if they're in need of mental health, whether they're in need of housing, whether, all the things that you mentioned. So these, I applaud you for trying to get that together and bringing that out.
Or arresting people in process.
And again, it was just so interesting how Wendell could pivot from community issues to, just putting you in stitches, you know what I mean? At the drop of a dime, know?
That was his gift for sure.
Yes. And that was an issue that was very passionate. We would often we sometimes have discussions about particularly police community relations with my background and Wendell's background. And sometimes we would disagree on certain things. But one thing we both agreed upon was that we both wanted the best interests of the community to be served.
Absolutely. He always wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. That was what he would always say.
Yes. He was absolutely an advocate for the community, and we always enjoyed those discussions with him. And it's funny that you talk about Wendell's interest in music. I'm going to kind of pivot to that because I know you're kind of pressed for time. But one of the things Wendell talked about at length was that he was used to play the bass guitar. Mm-hmm. And he was a disc jockey and did some other musical things. Do you remember those days around your house when Wendell was picking up musical instruments and doing those things?
Yes, he always. We have a piano in the house as well, and he really played kind of by ear. So he played music on the piano. He had just recently bought a new bass. He has like 2 bass guitars, and I'm thinking, what are you going to do with them? But he just fiddled around with it. But he was really good at hearing music and just playing what he heard. So music was always through our house. If you listen to our girls know old school music, new school music, because every day there was music in our home. And he and one of our date nights, literally were going to the CD store and just thumbing through CDs for hours. And to the point he would buy we had matching baseball caps. They were bright orange. Wow. So I could see him up high. He could see me down low. And we would spend hours just thumbing through music because that's what we truly loved. And our kids have that same love for music. They appreciate all genres. And that's because he and I, matter of fact, when we merged our music, that's when I knew we were really serious. I said, okay, if I merge my music with you, then there's no turning back because I had my collection of music. He had his collection of music. And then we just merged it all together.
Wow.
So, yes.
Wow. And I want to share a clip with you with Wendell talking. We had James Brown's drummer, Robert Mousy Thompson. Okay. And Wendell was just kind of sharing some of his musical prowess. So take a listen.
Okay.
Hey, good people. We are back from the break. We are still trying to keep it on the one from the one who kept it on the one for so long. I used to DJ myself. As I told you, I was an old garage band bassist. Just love music, all types of music, always have. It's the universal language. Everybody knows it. We're back with our discussion, folks, for the folks just joining us. If you don't know who we're talking to, we've got Robert Mousy Thompson, who is the drummer for James Brown and now drums with James Brown Experience and has been keeping it on the one most of your life. I remember all the other groups that kind of came out during that time. There was Cameo and the Barcades, and how some of these groups were so intertwined because the Barcades used to be, I think the members who went on to be the Barcades used to be, or part of them used to be the band that played with Otis Redding. Am I right?
Isaac Hayes.
It was Isaac Hayes.
Hayes.
Okay, the bar case.
Yeah.
Now, who was it? Now, someone Mays used to play for. Anyway, we can get into that later. But I was just everything was so connected. But all these other groups, Kool and the Gang, and all of them, without James Brown, I don't know where any of them would come from. But one of the groups that was obviously, as you mentioned earlier before the break, that was so really heavily not only influenced by James Brown, but kind of infiltrated by folks who had played with James Brown was Parliament Funkadelic. And that was one of them. You talk about that. Their whole motto was keep it on the one. I mean, they took that to that next phase. So
they took it to the next phase. Yeah,
that's right. So Bootsy Collins, we talked about. The horns, the horny horns. Maceo and Fred Wesley and all of these folks were James Brown's proteges. And if you listen to a lot of the classic songs, One Nation Under a Groove, you can hear all of these. All of the stuff that they picked up as they went along. It's almost like, it was James Brown was a school, not only a band, but it was a school too.
As you see, Wendell took us to school. He kept, he had an incredible thirst for knowledge, but he really knew his music. You know what I mean? Just such a multi-talented guy.
He absolutely did. And, for fun, we would play this game. And it used to be a TV show, Name That Tune and How Many Notes. And we would do it on the first note. And he can tell me who the band was or tell me who's that singer. He and I were both pretty good. He was better than I was.
Okay.
But we knew music. That's the common thread for us, is music, the whole entire family. So, yes.
Wow.
And he prided himself of having the bands. I had the 70 slow jams. He had all the bands.
Wow.
So he had other bands.
Wow. And let me share another clip with you. Wendell was even schooling the old school musicians. I'll play another clip with you with Wendell chopping it up with Bubba Knight from Gladys Knight and the Pips on the show.
Oh.
Something that will change the pitch of a song. If you go and listen to Anita Baker, Anita Baker's Sweet Love, pitch it down low, you swear you're listening to Mike McDonald.
Oh, that's the truth.
If you pitch it down, turn it down low, you go from, sweet love to sweet love.
You're right.
Never go. Sound like Mike McDonald, especially when it gets to the corner. I'm serious. Y'all out there in radio land, go try it. You got if you can pitch, if you have something where you can control the pitch,
Lord.
go place. All right, y'all do it and come back next week and tell me what I'm telling you.
Okay.
So you're saying that was Michael McDonald sped up?
No.
Mike always putting a spin on stuff.
Yeah, Thinbad. You are so absolutely right. Listen, straight talk radio.
Yes, sir.
And no chaser. You tell them like it is, because I had I was playing. I don't know how it came about, but I was playing Midnight Train to Georgia, and the pitch was down.
Mm-hmm.
Thinbad, I thought it was me.
So see, Thinbad even schooled the old school musicians.
He sure did. Wow.
I mean, he was something. And one thing we have to share with the audience, there was a couple of times that, Thinbad's love of music, and we used to have such a good time. We had Derek Ward from Trouble Funk, and I'm sure you've heard of the go-go band Trouble Funk. And Derek has this just phenomenal voice. It's just unbelievable. So he was on the show one day singing. And, of course, Thinbad paid him the ultimate compliment. But I'm going to let you hear what he said.
Okay.
It's they get on it, man. And we love it. We love it. Yeah, we love it, man. So
now you've got you got some new music out. I'm going to put a little bit of that in the background because I think folks need to hear that. But before we do that, D, you got to do one for me since we got since we got sophisticated Shannon here, she's always looking at us side eye when we go out, we bring guests on. Hit her with some acapella real quick.
Oh,
Hit her
man.
with some acapella so she see the skills that came out of the area.
Shannon, baby. You are so beautiful to me. Yeah. You are so beautiful to me. Can't you see? Oh, hey, baby. I don't want your man climbing through the.
No, not that man, not her man. God knows you don't want that rascal showing up.
We got to break.
Oh my gosh,
that man was. He'd be looking for her in the daytime with a flashlight.
Hey, look, man, he was on her lawn last week with some mismatched socks and his shoes on the wrong feet. That joke just nuts, man.
I don't do drama no more, man.
Yeah, man.
I don't do drama.
But
boy, you can think though, you blowing now. If I had that boy, I had 12 children. I had 12 children.
So, Wendell had a way of giving those compliments out,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it was just, you just never knew what you were going to get on a particular day. And I mean that in a good way. Was that the way it was around the house?
Always. You never know what you were going to get. One thing we did have, though, with consistency was laughter.
Okay.
Even I could share another story with you.
Okay.
I was thinking, you know what? I said, I don't know why I didn't share this story with you. So we found out we were pregnant with our second child.
Uh-huh.
And, Wendell and I, at this point, we're old.
Mm-hmm.
And my first daughter, we had right out the gate. She was born in 99. She's 24 years old now. But we were told we had some ups and downs where I had a miscarriage, and then I was later told that I couldn't have any more children.
Mm-hmm.
So I said I went ahead and bought a convertible. So I went ahead and bought a convertible, and
Wow.
went ahead and did what I do, and I got a dog. I said, okay, well, I'm blessed with one child.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get my convertible and get a dog, and life is grand.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, moving forward, somehow I got pregnant, and Wendell told me to go to the doctor. So I went to the doctors. I didn't even go to my regular doctor. I went to urgent care. I thought I had a cold. And, and I know, and I'm a doctor, so I kind of know what's going on with me, I'm thinking. And so I was a little short. I wasn't feeling well. And I never forget, how my conversation with the young lady went, with the doctor went, because I was in disbelief. And then when I got home, Wendell said, okay, what's wrong with you? I said, well, I'm pregnant. And he said, by who? Because at this point, we are 43 years old. We are 43 years old, and we were 44.
Wow.
And literally, he said to me, he was going to be 62 years old by the time Logan graduated high school.
Wow.
Because he started to calculate how old we were going to be when she graduated high school.
That's funny.
Yep.
That's funny.
I remember clear as day. He was sitting in the chair in ottoman, and I was sitting at the end of the bed. I said, I'm pregnant. And he just looked at me and said, by who? I never forget. Never forget that.
That's too funny. Dr. T.
So, okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. So he was a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. So
put some respect on that, man.
He was my brother. Yes, he was my husband and my brother.
Yeah, Dr. T is a Kappa, just so that you know, Dr. Ruth.
Well, we all can't make the right decision.
Ouch. Ouch. That hurts. So
I'm Alpha Kappa Alpha, so we always go in.
Ouch.
All the parts of the divine nine. So I love everybody. I love them all.
Absolutely. So what did he get really involved with the fraternity? Did he have an office? Was he president? Was he the DJ at the events? Tell us about that.
So I didn't quite hear that. So repeat that for me, or this.
Yeah. Great, Dr. T.
Just how was his involvement in the fraternity? Did he have any positions? Was he a DJ at the formal ball? Just tell us about that.
You asked me, do you have any issues?
No, did he hold an office in the fraternity?
No, he did not hold an office. He was a life member, but he did not hold an office at the fraternity. No, he did not.
Wow. Well, you know, Dr. Ruth, and interestingly enough, I got to circle back, and thanks for that question, Dr. T. And I got to circle back to when you found out that you were pregnant the second time around, and you know, it just goes back to it reminded me of a show that we had. It's all kind of connected, where we were actually, Wendell was actually giving out Valentine's advice. And so, you know, it just, when I heard of that, when I heard you say that, it just took me back to that show. Let me play you a quick clip.
Okay.
You're trying to say that your babe does something that you like that the ex didn't do. That's a big no-no.
Mention the ex on Valentine's
That's
Day.
you just asking for a bad time.
That person said that from experience.
Yep.
He asking to be an ex.
That's right.
Oh no.
My man Marlon said, "Don't get pregnant."
Wow.
Yeah, please don't. That's a big one.
Especially if your name is Marlon.
Yeah. He said, don't give her any appliances.
Appliances?
Don't give her any appliances.
What? Wait a minute.
Hey, baby, I bought you a vacuum cleaner and a washing machine. What you mean am I dropping a hint? I'm going to drop your ass if you bring me another damn appliance in here, boy. Get out of my house. Baby, but baby.
Oh, my goodness. So Wendell was always full of advice.
So wait, did he say do not buy any appliances?
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Can I tell you, every appliance in my house has been bought by him? Every single appliance, every kitchen appliance has been bought by him.
Is that right? Oh, that's funny.
Everything. That is funny. That's funny.
And he bought all the appliances. Wow.
Yeah, but you know what? It depends on the person. I like those types of things. I'm not a jewelry person, and I do like gadgets. He was a gadget person. So literally everything with the plug in our house, he's probably bought, with an exception of maybe a couple of lamps. I mean, every cooking appliance I had that required a plug, he has bought.
Sure.
I was just, vacuuming the rug the other day. He bought that, and he was always a gadget person. So yes, he's bought all the things in the house,
That's
all
funny.
the appliances. Yeah,
Well,
that is funny.
And also, Wendell gave us plenty. Wendell also gave advice on pickup lines for Valentine's Day. So let me share that with you as well.
Let's open it back up with another pickup line from Thinbad.
Oh yeah. My brother today, he walked up to a lady and said, "Hello. Can you do me a favor?" And the lady said, "What kind of favor?" He said, "Just feel my shirt." And she felt the shirt, and he said, "You know what that's made out of?" And she said, "What?" He said, "Boyfriend material."
Bam! Bam! What that's made out of? Boyfriend.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, what a cornball.
Made out of.
Yeah, so you know, that's the kind of cool stuff that we need to share with us.
Yes.
All the time.
Oh, that's funny.
And you know, one of the other things, Ruth, that we used to get a charge out of, and you may not be able to see the clip, but you can hear it. You know, Wendell used to always give us great joy and crack us up. So, you know, I always tried to find an opportunity to kind of make Wendell lose it as well. So let me play a clip from you when we were finally able to get Wendell to lose it.
3, 2, 1.
But my brother didn't learn, because about a month later, we were at the Giant. And
grocery store.
Huh?
Grocery store for them.
Yeah, the grocery store.
Yeah.
So my brother kept running the cart right up to my mother, back of her leg, and stopping, right? And my mother kept telling her, she said, all right, stop, don't do that again, right? You know, he's stupid. So he pushed right up on her ankles again and pulled it back. Well, the third time she stopped and he didn't realize it. And you remember the cart used to have the grocery cart used to have that thing where the seat was and it would flip up.
Right.
Well, he ran over the back of her leg so hard that the cart and my mother, my mother cussed at him like he was a stranger. She said, "You stupid motherfucker." What? I was like, what? She sure did. You asked my brother when you see him again. You stupid motherfucker. He tore a penny off, man.
I haven't met him. I figured she'd have killed him before I got to
because he put a big one in her stocking, man. Yeah, her stockings all tore up. She looks like a homeless woman. Right. So I was able to get Wendell to finally lose it for a minute.
Well, he had a good laugh, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
That's for sure.
Absolutely. And you know, what was interesting was that you never knew when it was coming. You know, so you had to be ready at all times, you know, and that's what made it such a fun time on the show.
Yeah, it sounds like you all had a great time. I know a lot of times you all were, when he was on air, there was a light that was in his office. I didn't hear all the time what you all were talking about, but he really did enjoy that time with you and on air. He loved it. He had a great time.
Oh,
that was his outlet. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a blast. We had a blast. Yeah. Let's see, Dr. T.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Dr. Ruth, thank you very much for sharing with us, and just what a wonderful human being Thinbad was. And I just thank you for being on the show today.
Well, it's my absolute pleasure. You guys, you know, I shared him with a lot of folk. I'm glad I got to share him with you. He was a joy to have him, you know, as a friend, as a husband, as a father, and, you know, may his children carry on his legacy and see what happens next. You know, everything happens for a reason. I do believe that. And I'm just looking forward to the journey my kids will have moving forward and all the people's lives that he's touched along the way.
Oh, absolutely. And Dr. Ruth, I can't let you get out of here again without, you know, as we talked about, I got to share one last clip with you. You know, one of the other things that we used to do on the show, we would have guests come on to talk about health-related issues, whether it was colon screening, COVID, AIDS, whatever the situation was. We try to have folks on to give that type of information, you know, every once in a while. Well, in this particular case, we had Kim McDaniel on the show, and she is a fitness guru. And she was on the show talking about, you know, eating correctly and, you know, colonics and, you know, herbal medicine and, you know, all those types of health related things. Well, unfortunately, you know, she hit that point that just got Wendell into a serious comedic mode, and after that point, it was off to the races from that point. So let me share this last clip with you.
Okay.
All on my toes. It's all on my toes. I just like, what is she all of this?
Yeah.
Our guesses is so inappropriate.
Yes, just went ahead and just stepped all on me. Just all of this.
Oxygen. Also think of just breathing and aerobic activity and exercise. And the fact, check this out. Most people aren't even breathing correctly. Like we're breathing using 1/5 of our capacity.
I can't drink water. I can't breathe right. I can't.
What the hell?
I'm out.
Wait a minute.
Goodbye.
Wait a minute.
I'm only breathing through one
Okay,
nostril.
see,
Now I know. That's the problem.
See, people just.
Oh my God.
Some people just take it too far, Wendell.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm done with this.
I'm telling you, when you breathe at your capacity, think of this. When you go, instead of taking the those, right? Those are two natural things. And I have since learned that it's not so much about the alkaline water, but the alkaline lifestyle. So what happens is people drink Wendell said earlier, Thinbad, my bad. What he said earlier was,
her last appearance.
That's all right.
Don't worry about it.
That's it. Don't worry about it. He's come back. I'm getting new. I'm getting new. I'm going to shed the old. I'm going new.
She's getting the names wrong. You can't breathe up in here. I'm sick of it.
I can't breathe right.
Don't bring her up here no more.
so sensitive.
I'm fine. She's helping me. She's helping me.
Now you're sensitive. So you're a sensitive, non-breathing, meat-eating fool.
I guess I would be sensitive. I can't do everything I've been doing wrong. I thought at least I knew how to breathe.
Going with this.
I thought I could breathe. I thought I could breathe.
Yep.
I thought I had that one under control.
We going
all my life.
Bring me a new guest on the show.com. This is crazy.
The doctors would say, breathe in, breathe out. That's all they ever told me. How the hell am I supposed to know there was directions other than that? It said, take a deep breath and then hold it and let go.
Oh my God.
So now I got to breathe right. I don't understand it.
And
but now I got to go to this website so I can learn how to breathe. At 55. At 55, I got to learn how to breathe.
Goodness.
Where did she come from?
Go lifestyle, just like you clean the outside of your body every day, right? You wouldn't go 3 months or, without taking a shower. You just wouldn't do that. But the inside
just stop doing that.
That's correct.
Just started showering.
And that's my personal business.
Oh my goodness. That's what we need. We need that.
I do, absolutely. We want you to
give me that.
It's real simple. It's do I need a coach? Do I need a coach.com.
Do I need a coach.com. Okay.
Yeah.
My website is yesido.com. Damnright.com.
That's right.
I do.
I'm going to get my colonicbuttblaster.org.
Oh my goodness.
So you see, it didn't matter the subject. Wendell could turn the crowd upside down. Didn't matter. And we just had a blast. Working.
It sound like.
We
sound
did.
Like you all did. It sounded like you all did.
We really
All
did.
right.
We had a tremendous time, and as Dr. T said, we're going to miss him terribly. And but one thing about it, we'll have the memories forever and ever and ever in our hearts, and of course we can always go back to Straight No Chaser and listen to those memories and look at them on Facebook and YouTube whenever we need a dose. So we have a way as a.
That's certainly a blessing,
It
and
is.
I will definitely share that with my kids too. That
Please do.
That they have, that those are there. I'm appreciative of it. I mean, I'm sitting here smiling like, oh gosh, I get to hear the voice. It's like, I don't get to hear it anymore. So I'm so thankful you have that archive.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It was, and I have to admit, it was a little tough when we were going through trying to pull out some clips. But after about 2 minutes, I'm laughing, and oh man, that was funny, and listening to it a couple of times. So, and that's just was Wendell's spirit. Just a very, very jovial, very engaging, and that's the way he'll be remembered. And so we're just so blessed that we were able to share the time with him that we did. And Ryan, did you have anything you wanted to add before we get out of here?
Well, one question: Where did Wendell go to high school?
He went to City College. He was very proud.
Now, see, that bothers me tremendously because I went to Powell, and had I known that Wendell Phillips went to City, I would have given him a lot of grief. But
he
I
look,
missed that opportunity. I wish I had known that. I might not have been on the show as much, knowing that Wendell went to City College.
You know, looking through his jewelry, I could find his city ring. I couldn't find his wedding band for nothing. I said, but here's the city ring sitting up there proud as I don't know what. So yes, he was definitely a City College was his school. He loved it dearly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so
great. That's just great. Yeah.
That is so
Matter of fact, I met a lot of his at the funeral in Baltimore. They came out in droves. I mean, and all of them had the rings on. I'm like, oh wow.
Yes.
So they were represented well along with everyone else. I mean, many members of Divine Nine were there. Of course, the Alpha Brothers were there, but it was just, it was a celebration for sure.
It was. It absolutely was. It was a tremendous celebration, and we're just so happy that we could be there to be a part of it. It was very well done. Very well done. So
thank you, sir.
So, Dr. Ruth, any last words? We're going to leave the last word with you. Then we're going to close the show out with none other than Thinbad, letting him close his tribute out to himself.
Well, you know what? I really don't have anything more to say other than thank you for this opportunity. And, thank you for keeping him alive and well. And I just really, I'm just thankful for, if he were here, he would thank you for your friendship. And I just thank you.
Sure. And we certainly thank you. And thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing some memories with us. But most of all, we just thank you for sharing Thinbad. And ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to close it out like we normally do. We're going to let Brother Thinbad close us out.
I want to encourage people to write. If they, I know everybody's not a writer, but if you jot something down, like a sentence from your day, and go, you'll appreciate it. You'll be glad you did it. People I want to write to, I got all this kind of stuff I wanted to say and do, and just didn't do it. Just didn't do it. Got caught up in COVID, got caught up in work, got caught up in being caught up with being caught up. Yeah, because I try to pride myself more often than not on being, somewhat inspirational or hopeful, and folks had come to expect that.
Yes.
And when you can't give that, when you don't feel that, when you can't give that, it starts to mess with you, because it's you're like, man, if I can't do this, but then you got to give yourself a break because you're only human. But thank you for allowing us to give it to you this week. Straight.
No chaser.
Yes, man.